A recent article by Yale Daily News has substantiated and corroborated a mccainisthrough video from some years ago, which global warming deniers have their heads in the sand about.
You're watching daily temperature records being broken and in some places shattered day by day during March of 2012. And you can see them migrate in waves across the country. And when you consider both high temperatures and low temperatures, we had more than 15,000 of these records broken during the month. That's a lot compared to a normal month, and that's a lot even compared to previous heat waves. Now you take all of those warm days and nights during March and you bring them together, and what you get is the warmest March on record for the contiguous United States. And that's a history that dates back to 1895. So March 2012, the average temperature was 51.1 degrees, which is 8.6 degrees above the 20th century average.
It's a simple fact that global temperatures are rising, and it's also agreed upon by more than 97% of publishing climatologists that the effects are caused by man. To what degree, there is no real certainty. That's true. But they do all agree that man is absolutely contributing to it. You look around, unless you're an absolute idiot, and you'll see that. Your car is not pouring out sugar water into the environment. It's putting out gases, and those gases contribute to the warming effects of this particular man-made issue. Coal chimneys that are pouring out lethal black soot that if you were to breathe directly, you would die from. Those are not immaterial things. Those are observable physical things that are happening every single second and at an increasing rate. We had maintained in our video, and we'll play the clip, that the effects of global warming actually intensify disease and create the further spread of more damaging diseases. Things like malaria, things that kill people. These are dramatic conditions that cause widespread illness and death.
It probably doesn't need to be pointed out again, but the planet isn't cooling, it's warming, so the effect of deaths caused by cold doesn't have any impact here. What does matter is the significant increase in disease caused by global warming, limited water supplies, the spread of disease, and those sorts of things that actually pertain to reality, rather, again, than conjecture that's not based in any fact or any science.
Now, from the article, quote, "There may be more to fear from global warming than environmental changes. According to several leading climate scientists and public health researchers, global warming will lead to higher incidence and more intense versions of disease. The direct or indirect effects of global warming might intensify the prevalence of tuberculosis, HIV, AIDS, dengue, Lyme disease," they said. But the threat of increased health risks is likely to further motivate the public to combat global warming. The environmental changes wrought by global warming will undoubtedly result in major ecologic changes that will alter patterns and intensity of some infectious diseases, said Gerald Friedland, professor of medicine and epidemiology and public health at the Yale School of Medicine. Global warming will likely cause major population upheavals, creating crowded slums of refugees, Friedland said. Not only do areas of high population density facilitate disease transmission, but their residents are more likely to be vulnerable to disease because of malnutrition and poverty, he said. This pattern of vulnerability holds both tuberculosis and HIV/AIDS increasing the incidence of both the acquisition and spread of diseases, he explained. He said these potential effects are not surprising, since tuberculosis epidemics historically have followed major population and environmental upheavals. By contrast, global warming may increase the infection rates of mosquito-borne diseases by creating a more mosquito-friendly habitat. Warming, and the floods associated with it, are like to increase rates of both malaria and dengue, a debilitating viral disease found in tropical areas and transmitted by mosquito bites, said Maria Diuk-Wasser, assistant professor of epidemiology at Yale School of Public Health. The direct effects of temperature increases are an increase in immature mosquito development, virus development, and mosquito biting rates, which increase contact rates, biting, with humans. Indirect effects are linked to how humans manage water, given increased uncertainty in the water supply caused by climate change, Diuk-Wasser said. The article is quite interesting and further substantiates and corroborates what mccainisthough had said in our earlier video.
We've had the automobile, and coal-burning mills, and industrial pollution on a scale so large that it's alarming. One need only look at the facts to arrive at the obvious conclusion. We've included the information so you can take a look at the articles yourself and see exactly what the record heat was in Australia. A gigantic landmass the size of the entire United States of America.
And you take this warmest March on record, and you add it to what was the fourth warmest winter on record, and you add that to a warm late fall, you get the warmest heating season on record. Those are the months of October through March, and that's when heating demands are in play for much of the United States. So think about heating your house. If the temperature goes below 65 degrees, you'll turn on the heat. And every degree below 65 is a heating degree. So if the average temperature is 60 for a day, that's 5 heating degree days for that day. Now this map shows how different this last heating season was from an average one. Where you see the orange, that was a place that was much warmer than normal, and they accumulated much fewer heating degree days than in an average season. As you might suspect by looking at this map, and probably from your own experience too, energy demand was way down during the cold season. People simply spent less money heating their homes. And that's just one of the stories from this extremely warm winter, which ended with an exclamation point named March. Now we just watched how day-by-day weather builds into months and into seasonal climate. And understanding this transition and this relationship is a big part of being climate smart. For climate.gov, I'm Dee Garnt.